Welcome back to Astronomy 104, the astronomy of planets. In the introduction video for the last module, I talked to you about how astronomy is all about trying to find out what exists in the universe outside our planet, and what our place in that universe is. I talked about how planetary astronomy really focuses on that second perspective, and really specifically the questions of whether there is life beyond our planet, and whether we could ever live anywhere else. When it comes down to it, I think there are really a lot of basic aspects of human nature coming together that lead us to want to explore these questions. There's the desire to not just find out what's out there, but actually to go out and explore it, to see if we can find some hint that will help to unlock some of the greatest mysteries, like the origin of life. There's also that basic survival instinct. So we know that the sun only has enough fuel to keep things going roughly as they are for another 5 billion years. And on top of that, it's probably too presumptuous to think that we as a species are going to make it that long, especially since we're addicted to things that pump huge amounts of greenhouse gases into the air. But still, we have this basic survival instinct. And when we're given a time limit, even 5 billion years, plus the reality that we actually could turn our planet into Venus, it really motivates us to want to search for alternatives. So this module's content is really the basis for our exploration of all that stuff. Not even 100 years ago, many people were totally convinced that little green men existed on Mars. So much so that a 1938 broadcast of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds that was directed and narrated by Orson Welles led to a panic across the United States. Although the misunderstanding over this fictional broadcast was cleared up right away, it wasn't until after Mariner 2 reached Venus in 1962 and Mariner 4 reached Mars in 1965 that we really understood or started to understand just how rare life in our solar system really is. There aren't different sentient life forms on every planet in our solar system. The Earth, it turns out, is pretty special. So, after reviewing the history of observations of Mars and Venus, you're going to explore what makes Earth so well suited to support an abundance of life. Basically, everywhere we've found liquid water on Earth, we've also found life. So we think that water is the essential ingredient for life, that and organic molecules. Therefore, what you're going to do is explore all the interconnected factors that explain why liquid water is able to exist on our planet. You're also going to explore why water doesn't exist, at least not in any permanent state, on Venus and Mars. Because actually we think all three of these planets formed with pretty close to the same chemical makeup. So it's important for us to figure out why Venus and Mars became so inhospitable. In particular, you're going to see what I mean when I say that we could realistically turn our planet into Venus, and why that would be a really, really bad thing. So that's why I said this module's content is really the basis for our exploration of the questions of whether life exists elsewhere and whether we'd be capable of living anywhere else. Because we're lucky enough to live in a solar system that gives us not just one example to work off of, but actually 3 really good examples that enable us to constrain the variables which are important to the question of what makes a planet a life-sustaining one. So, happy exploring!